All right. Well, we're going to talk briefly. Can you hear me? We're going to talk briefly about one S-corp benefit, specifically the self-employment health insurance, as it relates to the salary portion, right? Meaning that there is a reasonable compensation that every S-corp shareholder must take. And that reasonable compensation is based on the income of the business. Essentially, if you were to hire somebody to do your job, how much would you need to pay them? That will be the reasonable compensation that the IRS requires. And the reason why, briefly, is because there is self-employment taxes that are levied against your salaried portion. Okay, without going into those details, that is what we're doing here. So take a look over here, and let me see, how do I make this? It's not what I wanted to do. Let's try this one more time. There we go, that's what I want. That red dot. Okay. Right. So it can work for both you and your family. The self-employment health insurance annual premiums. Think about the annual premiums here for both you and your family, as long as you are a 2% shareholder or more. Now, what happens? Your corporation will take a deduction, right? So it's going to reduce the business net income. And that is that. Now, what happens over here briefly? The net, your reasonable salary, there's going to be two places on your W-2 that the reasonable salary is reflected. One is going to be in box number 1. Where'd you go? Technical skills here. One is going to be in box number 1. The other is going to be in boxes 3 and 5. Okay, just keep that in mind. So the self-employment health insurance, a bunch of details over here. I'm not going to go into all of this, but essentially you are going to be, your box number 1 is going to be your reasonable salary. So if we have an example afterwards, but if it's $50,000 that's determined to be your reasonable salary, box number 1 will say $50,000, but that will include your self-employed health insurance premiums. And that needs to be on your W-2 to take advantage of this strategy right here. But it is not going to be included in boxes 3 and 5, which are where the Social Security and Medicare wages are listed. Just happened there. Okay, so keep that in mind. It will be in box number 1. Did I say 2? It will be in box number 1 on your W-2, but not in boxes 3 and 5. Next. Okay, some frequently asked questions. This is going to be a quick one. So, the W-2, box number 1, goes on your 1040. So first, keep this in mind, right? Your corporation is going to take that deduction, and that is going to decrease the amount of your income taxes, because that's going to decrease the amount of your business net income that goes in your K-1. So here's the question. Since the wages are going to be listed on box number 1, then you're going to essentially get charged income taxes on it on your 1040, right? Yes, correct. Except there's one item to keep in mind over here. There's the red dot. On Schedule 1, you're going to decrease keeps happening there. You're going to decrease your income on Schedule 1. You're going to get a deduction for the premiums. So it's going to increase, then it's going to decrease on your 1040. So you get a decrease on your corporate, then you get an increase on your personal, and a decrease on your personal. Net decrease. Question number 2. If the premiums were not included on the W-2, can your S-corp still deduct it? Big fat no. Nope. You must include it on the W-2, Right now we are in December. I shouldn't date this video, but we are in December. And so there's still time to get those premium payments onto your W-2. Speak to your payroll provider. Question number 3. Right. Let me just talk about the answer over here, because this question is a little bit not so straightforward. But essentially, if the premiums are paid by the individual, and essentially they are in the name of the shareholder, not the corporation, and they're paid by the individual, can the S-corp still deduct it? Yes, but the corporation has to either pay those premiums, or reimburse the 2% shareholder. Okay, so the corporation has to either pay it directly or reimburse. If those payments came out of the corporation, you should be fine as long as it's listed on your W-2. If they were paid by your personal account and they're not on your corporate financials, then the corporation should reimburse the shareholder. And that's similar to other types of transactions, such as home office expense and vehicle expenses that are reimbursed by the S corporation for the S corp to take those deductions. But for these purposes, keep that in mind. Next page. This is just a very simple example. There will be no self-employment taxes on the $10,000 in this scenario, where reasonable salary is determined to be $50,000 and the self-employment health insurance premiums are $10,000. So box number 1 of the W-2 is going to have $50,000. It's going to be a deduction on the 1120. Box number 3 and 5 are going to have $40,000. So you're going to get self-employment taxes only on the lower number. Lower. Net income of the business, $10K will be a deduction for the S-corp. Don't ask me about this line right here, please. I have to look into that one. But this is essentially no self-employment taxes on the 10K. The 10K is going to be a deduction. Well, that's the end of that example. Then we have my contact information. Should you care to ask a question, find out more information, or tell me how amazing my hair looks. All right. Have a wonderful day. I think that's it. Last frame. Bye-bye.